after I hit
So
this
I
one
was going
button.
to open up while you're doing that and say I took my advance last time around, and I took the move Ashes of Time. When you mark an element as a result of an inner conflict, you may immediately create a bond with somebody as you reflect on a lesson they deliberately or inadvertently taught you.
Nice. Oh, I like that. That's fun. More inner conflict for Margie. Right. Poison Dave's girlfriend. More inner conflict for Margie.
Hey!
I'm just trying to make sure you get a chance to use your moves. I don't want them to go to waste. I am helping. Am I not helping? Feels like I'm helping. Bill, I'd ask, and maybe you put it in chat and I just didn't see. Do you know what advance you did?
I took mine last time. I took the imposter, which is you can
right.
assume perfect disguise. If you're impersonating someone specific, you must have seen them and have their garb. And there's basically a check for when I get challenged.
Cool. I'll poke around your character sheet when I've got a hot minute and take a look at the particulars and stuff. But yeah, thank you for that. Very nice. Super cool. All right. Neat. I'm sorry. Hang on for just 1 second. Sorry. My daughter had a very critically important question about what one of her stuffed animals' names was officially. Not being remotely sarcastic there. In any case, I just remembered what it was too, which annoys me that I've actually dedicated several brain cells to knowing that. All right. Back at yes.
It's official, so of course you need to.
Yeah. What she was actually really truly asking was what was the name of the pig in Gravity Falls, but that's anyway. Zemin and Peng Lan and Sun, have you departed Kailing's room in your memory of events, or were you still sort of politely wrapping things up?
In my memory of events, Zima at the very least had booked it. Respectfully,
because you were moving with some speed toward where?
Finding out where Lei was. However, start a game move.
Oh right, yes. Sorry, start a game move.
I'm keeping all my entanglements the same.
All right, and if you guys want to work this, let's do this. Look at your entanglements. Make sure that you're what they want. They are what you want them to be. Words are hard. Make sure they are what you want them to be. If they change, definitely say something. Interrupt to say something. Once you're sure and you have which one marked, let me know so I can look and say, oh yes, that one. Zemin, you are already laid out, as it were.
Yep, like I said, not changing any of them.
Gotcha. All right.
Mine are unchanged, and I'm focusing on Su-Wen this time.
Nice.
Or on Shu and Su-Wen.
Nice.
Unchanged, and going with my one with Gunlan.
That seems solid.
Yeah.
Seems like a solid move on your part.
I managed not hit either of my entanglements last time, but I'm going to go ahead and keep them the same and continue to
go harder.
To go after that troublemaker's son to help get my father Zheng out of trouble, assuming that doesn't get immediately resolved.
Oh.
Like it could possibly go wrong now that I've determined that, Lord Aoshi was not actually poisoned.
Yeah.
Well, hey, if something else comes up, change it to that one.
You
can do it mid-game.
Yeah, you can absolutely do it mid-game. Yeah, that is important information. Now we know it was magic and that your father must be a sorcerer. Crap. That did not accomplish what I wanted.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Zemin, I did not leap to conclusions. I took a tiny step, and their conclusions were. Anyway, right. Ended with Shu. Man, there's so many people who are about to explode here that I just don't know.
Pick the funnest one, or the one that will spread out the most.
Yeah.
I could also just kick something off real quick.
By all means, you do you.
So
let's start with you. We haven't started with you before.
So, if I heard correctly, we're still kind of chilling at the lady's place.
Zemin has made his niceties and is headed for the door, but that doesn't necessarily mean either of you have to.
No, that's fine. So I'm just going to signal to Peng Lan real quick, this other person who I've not met previously, and just ask.
Like right outside the room, or are we still in there with...
no, we'll go outside, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Just making sure. I want to make sure I understand.
And just stop him and be like, may I ask what is your place in these proceedings?
Do you even go to the school?
No. Or I used to. I transferred out, but I'm stuck in this hellscape. I had a former connection with Kung Gunlan. I was invited here for the festival by Zemin, and
Not knowing he was going to pull you into shit.
Technically not true. Your presence was leveraged by Zemin. He took advantage of the fact that you were sent here by your master.
well, okay.
I'm just saying, Zemin. I mean, I know that that's your like Zemin's dragging you into your thing, but technically you were going to have to at least kind of be here anyway because your master sent you, or possibly Zemin got your master to send you. Maybe that's.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I would not either.
Either way, I blame Zemin.
That's fair.
But as a member of the Snow River sect, I cannot turn my back on, miscarriages of justice, such as this woman being married against her will.
And I don't. I mean, very broadly, I would say, son, you having come from this area originally or anything like that, and being a student of various martial arts and disciplines and that sort of thing, I think you'd probably know of the Snow River sect. I think what I very broadly kind of sketched out in my head, and James, please leap in with anything else that you want to add or lead or delete out of this. But in my head, they're not originally sort of from here. They have settled here in that I pictured them as a sect that was larger at one point in time, and at some point in time pissed off the emperor by, depending on who you ask, being too honorable. Like they refused to bend to the trends of the day or the way the wind was politically blowing or something like that, but they were also too honorable to really get like strung up for not going along with things. So sort of in frustration and anger and so forth, they were kind of cast out of the capital and have settled here as a way, out of the sight of the imperial court and sort of away from everybody a little bit. But they're, I sort of think of them as being like I've mentioned, because partly it's the only show that I've had time to watch, is the Condor Warriors thing. There's like the way that people talk about the Taoists in that show, where they're just kind of an order of people who are powerful by virtue of being virtuous, even if they have like maybe one of them has a bad temper or something like that, but they're kind of just respected by virtue of, if you are one of them, then you're going to have to be kind of virtuous, because otherwise you would have flunked out, kind of thing. James, any modifications or repainting or wrinkles or anything like that?
No.
Nah?
That sounds good.
So, yeah, at some high level, him associating himself with that order, that's kind of what you would know about, at least somewhat about his background.
Okay, so what Sun heard, the important part that Sun heard from his perspective is that this individual has a connection to Gunlan, who is one of the possible people that Su Wen might get married off to. Sun's got to put two and two together and get 37, and conclude that Zemin has brought Penlan here to be a lever in the negotiations and to be a source of information or problem for Gunlan. And say, okay, that, like internally he's going to say, okay, I know what this person is doing here now.
Gotcha.
What he's going to say out loud is, that is very noble. My skills may be meager, but if there's any way that I can assist you in any of your efforts, please call upon my service.
I find it interesting that Sun's sort of like impression, at least as I gather it from the outside, of how Zemin manages sort of the machinations of intrigue and so forth, is like, sort of finally inserting these various pieces onto the go board. And Zemin's actual method is sort of like, I have this wad of firecrackers and I'm going to throw it into a crowded street.
Don't mess with my illusion.
All I have to say about that is, if you play the short game, what's the difference?
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. And every game is a short game for you, because you can always kind of like dip out before the hammer lands.
Yeah.
Or often. You can often do that. Which reminds me, thank you for taking me down that little side path, that a certain hammer is going to land on someone from your firecrackers from last time.
From Gunlan.
From Gunlan.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
who has a link to Hongguan,
Huigon?
the second son? Yeah.
Uh,
You do now.
Well, I know that. I'm just who in the party has a link?
they're sort of like second cousin related. Most of them, because it's like Lee and Two-Handed G, like people around Gunlong.
Right. Okay, that's what I was. I
But
just was asking as a group if that had changed since we
no,
had the relationship.
as far as I
master
know,
together.
nobody's directly pointed at Huigon at this point.
Okay.
Except for, I mean, you don't have an entanglement, but you have
Well, yeah.
you have a thing. There's a thing.
I have a thing.
Definitely a thing happening.
Okay.
While it can cause you terrible amounts of drama, it does not naturally generate XP for you. So it's that kind of a thing.
But it could.
It stresses me out, but I'm not learning anything from it.
But no, I actually changed my relationship to my general entanglement as opposed to my romantic entanglement. That
Is what?
is that I'm confused and I'm nauseous that I may actually have to ask 5 Queen Zemin for help.
Oh my god, I've got to go look at how you worded this.
Hold up. I want to talk about your romantic entanglement.
That's yeah.
That's going to be a fun scene.
I can't, yeah. I'm totally confused
Yeah,
by
that
Huigon's
takes a little
attention.
bit. I mean, it's still in the same.
Oh, Margie, that is some top-notch work right there, young lady. That is good stuff. Okay, so Sun and Pen. So you're both there in the hallway. You've kind of made your mutual introductions, and to a certain extent, at least, like offered your assistance where possible. Peng, where are you headed then? Conversation having come to its conclusion.
Know where I want to go.
So Gunlan then, or find him.
As I'm doing as the Lady Kai suggested.
Gotcha. What about you, son?
That's a really good question. I don't know that I have a specific direction right now. So we're going to say that sun kind of fades into the background.
Okay.
And I will show up at an opportune moment.
That sounds good. Yeah, loom menacingly out of the shadows at the appropriate time. I give you free rein to do so.
He does have a move.
If you don't have to, I literally have a move to do it.
Never mind that. That's good. Oh, right. That's right. Sorry, I forgot. That's good. I'm glad. Let me rephrase that. I'm very glad that you're getting a chance to use that move. In that case, so yeah, I like the idea. I like the image of like Peng Lang like then turning and like sort of steeling themselves and like this sort of like long suffering sigh and squaring the shoulders and going off down the hall, and then Sun just kind of quietly fading back into a niche somewhere, you know, a little alcove or something like that, and just kind of fading back into there.
I can see that on video.
Absolutely. Bao, you're in the chambers of Lord Aoshi, and we are getting, for a little bit of reused footage, we're getting the abbot once again offering to Crescent Sword, I think is his name. If there is any suspicion of magic, I will offer my services in that regard. As a Buddhist, I have been trained in such things to ward against sorcery, which not wrong.
Yes.
Feng seems somewhat torn by this whole thing because he's a pure military man. The idea of there being magic involved in this thing like just overly complicates a situation that's already like giving him stomach ulcers. So on the one hand, his
I'm sure Bao has something for that.
Yeah, his military mind is like all information is useful information that can be used tactically speaking in the battles to come. On the other hand, I don't want to know this. For those of you who have ever read any of the Midnight or the Rivers of London series, but basically how the Metropolitan Police approach the folly, just like take care of it, but God's sakes, don't talk about it.
Yes, we're glad they're there. We're glad to pass this problem off to them because we don't want it on our desk. And
right.
We don't really want to have to actually truly believe in consciously believe in all of this that's going on.
Yeah.
If we have to work this case, we have to believe. Therefore, it's and we're liable to die horribly, which is even worse. So
right.
We're just as glad to be able to fob this off on.
Right. So
called I can't remember what they call the
Falcon. Falcon case.
Yes. We'll just call this Falcon and get it off our desks.
Right. So he reluctantly sort of like does sort of a fine, kind of. No. Here, go. Sorry, 1 second. Right over there. Right there. Sorry. Technical difficulties. Please wait. He kind of makes this sort of like good, fine, God, get on with it kind of gesture to the abbot. Do you do anything about this? I don't know if I can't tell if Dave or Bao has suspicions about the abbot or both.
Bao has no suspicions about the abbot. I mean, he would actually encourage, Kristen Sword Feng, please, if there's a chance to save our Lord Aoshi, I beg you to take up the abbot on his offer.
That is not where I was expecting you to go with that. I just want to peer at something.
I'm trying to get Dad out from under. So, and now that clearly, and I've got an interest in kind of a general interest in Aoshi recovering. I mean, I don't have any sort of particular animus towards him. So, the best case scenario here is Aoshi recovered and it being clear that it had nothing to do with poison.
I mean, the worst case is that Aoshi was put under with sorcery, and now the abbot's going to take his chance to kill him.
In front of a room of people?
As a player, I don't discount that at all. Bao is not seeing things from that perspective.
That was weird.
Yeah.
I got somehow stuck in mute. So Fang will listen to you because I'm letting the hearts and minds ride. If you want it, you can roll a hearts and minds because it might have a beneficial effect on the abbot toward you. The fact that you're speaking on his behalf kind of thing. If it doesn't really matter, if you're just saying it primarily to influence Fang and you, the player, doesn't really care one way or the other about what the abbot's thinking about you, then we don't need to worry about it.
I'm happy to roll something to encourage the abbot towards my perspective.
Yeah, then why don't you give me a hearts and minds? Feng's gonna gesture. It's really more about how the abbot takes things.
Okay. I don't want to do it with that.
I wasn't expecting you to sort of speak on behalf of the abbot, and that.
Well, I'm speaking less on behalf of the abbot and more on behalf of here's a guy who can prove that Dad's innocent.
Right. I'm mostly the thing is there's two different ways that this can really be taken by him, positive and negative. So I'm kind of curious if you want to do it.
I will. Yes, I will go ahead and do this.
Right.
And I'm going to do it with fire because I am speaking from the heart.
Go ahead and do that. Do that thing.
What could possibly go wrong?
I mean, there's a better than 50% chance that we're going to find out the answer to that question. A 7. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm more using this honestly as an oracle than anything else, honestly. So I will tell you, Dave, as sort of a result of this thing, that there is definitely some animosity between the abbot, and this probably explains why Feng wasn't in here in the first place. But there's definitely some animosity between Feng and the abbot, whether it's like his reaction to all holy men or all this abbot's attitude towards military men or something like that. You get the idea it's more Feng than it is the abbot, but it's certainly reciprocated, but they don't like each other very much. And Feng is obviously one of the higher ups in the military sort of structure of things and the government structure of things, but obviously the abbot and Lord Aoshi have contact, and if last night was any indication and stuff like that. So this is just kind of an insight on your thing. All right, so the abbot gets over there and does his thing, and really, I mean, you were already able to kind of deduce that, but the abbot is quickly able to, it's a very subtle energy, but it is definitely there. Two energies very alike to one another, but working at cross purposes within the humors of Lord Aoshi. All of that sounds like gobbledygook, but I assure you it's all actually, that's not what he's saying, that's what I'm saying. That's actually all relevant. Two energies, quite similar to one another, but working at cross purposes within or on Lord Aoshi.
I will turn to Fang and say, see, my father is clearly innocent of this attack upon our Lord.
Very well. We will see him freed. Return to his role here within the palace. No need for disruption. I must go. I need to have a conversation with some people. And
I will bow deep. I will bow deeply.
By the time you get back up from the vow, he's already like walking out through the door and leaving orders that no one is to disturb the Lord without permission from himself, or actually he just doesn't stop. He just says without direct permission from myself. So which is interesting. The angle that he's taking on that, just the level of authority that he's taking there. The abbot is frowning at that whole thing. But he doesn't say anything to you because honestly, you're not somebody he would be having those kinds of conversations with unless you can convince
He's
him
no
otherwise.
longer visible.
Well, yeah, I mean,
no, he's not going to get in his political concerns around.
you're the palace cook's son who travels a lot. That's not the person the abbot decides to
unburden his soul, or his political soul about.
He doesn't critique the second in command around that person or to that person. How it's done.
My Lord Abbot, how can we save the Lord?
I am not familiar with this sorcery. It will require research. He goes on a little bit, like he kind of he does a bit of exposition or monologuing about the various kind of energies and humors and that sort of thing.
Okay.
I think
I know appropriately.
Yeah. You're not entirely sure that he knows what to do next. I mean, if you really want to get into it and like really kind of like take apart his statement here with a study or something like that, you certainly could to pick out a little bit more. But honestly, you're not. He's kind of. You ever been in one of those meetings where the boss asks for an update from somebody and you're absolutely sure that person was not planning on being able to give an update, and they want to know what the next what the action plan is for the next couple of weeks, and it's just delivered in extremely broad strokes with no real steps. That's kind of what he's doing. Like he doesn't know what to do next.
Right. We're still looking into that right now.
Yeah. Actually waiting for some feedback from IT.
Waiting on some response from the vendors, and
yeah, exactly.
Have top men on it.
What are you doing then?
Do I have any sort of sense if Aoshi is stable within whatever is being done to him?
He is.
I'll
reiterate this. He is.
Or...
No, he is in the absolute peak of health. He is in fantastic health. Pink cheeks, rosy, perfect health. Also in a coma. So he is definitely not declining, but neither is he getting better. And having thought that thought and looked at that thing and just kind of taken the measure of him, you're cast once again to the words of the abbot. He may not be great at action, but he's pretty good at analysis. Two energies working at cross purposes against one another within Lord Aoshi. He's in peak health, also in a coma. And if we were watching this as a wuxia melodrama, that would be the flashback, voiceover thing, while you're looking at the guy, the abbot saying these things that, because they're two very contradictory things, and that seems to entirely line up with what the abbot has said here. And we will leave you pondering that and looking at him and hearing those thoughts. And
considering how food may be a solution to this.
Sun. No, not Sun. Sorry. Shu. No. God dang it. No, it is Shu. Sky Daughter. What? Where? How? Let me ask a leading question, and you can say no. Back up. How are you getting into the castle? Because it seems like everything that you want to be able to do involves somebody that's in the castle right now.
Yeah, I'm going to the castle. Actually, what I'm really doing is I'm looking for Pen Ling.
Interesting. Okay. How are you getting into the castle? I will go ahead.
I was going to say one of the many associates entrance, the non-public entrances, probably close to where I normally sleep. So that near the women's.
Let's see how closely guarded all this stuff is. Why don't you give me a study roll, because that lets you declare things like this.
Okay.
That is exactly what this sort of thing is for. Whatever makes the most sense for you to know stuff about how to get in and out of the castle.
Yeah.
Water. Oh, wait, that's marked.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking earth, focus, presence, caution.
Sure. Works for me. Caution. There is quite a bit. I mean, yeah. And if nothing else, you're dealing with caution right now because Bloop. I
Hey.
heard a bloop. Heard a bloop.
Yep.
Oh, that is a
There he is.
bloop.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
is a bloop. The bloopiest bloop. All right.
So Mark Earth.
Mark Earth.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Well, it doesn't help the fact that I'm wearing some kind of combination of last night's clothes and whatever was at my brother's
Yes.
house, and probably not at all made up, which would be really unlike her.
Well, you are caught as you sneak into the castle by someone guarding the castle. I'm just checking here.
I'm not reading what the fail is.
Basic moves don't have a fail because they could apply to so many different situations. The specific moves, this is true for most Power by the Apocalypse stuff. The specific moves, especially the one on the character sheets, frequently spell out what the 6 is because the usage case is so narrow that it's pretty easy to say. And if it fails, it's going to look like this. With the basic moves, because the possible application of the move is so wide, the 6 is kind of left up to diabolical GMs and a long list of here's some stuff you can do that generally tracks. Yeah. So yes, you are caught by somebody who has been charged with guarding the castle, specifically this guy.
My brother.
Yes. You come in through the side entrance and you're basically 2 steps inside the wall, and you're grabbed in one arm and quite unkindly given a good hard shake. What are you doing?
Yoink against the wall.
Cuffs my ear or whatever.
The castle has been closed, and you're wandering back in like some. There are so many things he wants to say right now that are like, what would possibly possess you to try to get back into the castle on a day like today?
Okay. I'm not going to get upset with him. I am simply going to point to my outfit and say, "You think I can go around looking like this? I had to change. I had to get my makeup. I had to, do my job. You're doing your job. I need to do my job. What do you think I do? I live here." I'm returning that with anger.
Yes. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I would like you to roll hearts and minds on this. When you pressure someone susceptible to your words, say what you're trying to get them to do. And you're trying to get them to let you pass without explaining the actual reason that you're coming to the castle. I know the clothes are part of it, but let's be real. Does that track for you okay, Margie? I'm assuming so, since you're
no, that's perfect.
All right.
Because it's sort of like, I'm not going to tell him why I'm here at all. But the most obvious is, I live here. You want me to go around looking like this? You idiot. Since he's not really known for his courtly ways.
He hesitates. He actually, there's a moment where he kind of blinks and kind of refocuses and gets you in, because, how should I put this? When he looks at you, he sees his little sister, and you actually see him blink. You actually see him blink and see a member of the court. Like, you come into focus as something other than his little sister. You're still his little sister. That hasn't quite changed, but he does hesitate.
Right.
And realize that, at least in that one sense, with regards to who you are and what you do and how your life works, he doesn't get all of it. So he's taking the hesitate option off of hearts and minds. So you have a +1 ongoing against him until there's some sort of change in the dynamic with you.
Okay.
Whether you put your foot in your mouth again, or do something else in his presence that changes things back to, or changes things again, whatever that happens to look like.
Okay, so I will calm my tone lightly and ask if he will let me go to my room. Because we're sort of at an impasse. He's hesitating. I'm not walking away.
Where are you going? I understand what you're saying. Where are you going after you get yourself put together properly? What are you doing? And he does want some kind of answer here.
Well, I can tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not going to go around and try and interfere with whatever's going on with the Lord, and I'm not going to try and do anything with either of the sons. I'm going to do my job. Which
he squints pretty hard at that, like he suddenly, like the thought hadn't really occurred to him. And then when you said the sons thing, his eyes kind of do a back and forth, like he's suddenly reading a line in a book, and he kind of squints.
I will probably go see Lady Kai, as my wont, in the mornings, and determine if there's anything that she needs. If not, I will do what I do during the day, which is, needlepoint, painting, calligraphy, flower arranging, all
All
of those things that make the
yes,
castle.
all critically important during such a day as this. Listen, listen. Things are very complicated for both of the royal sons right now. Huigong, in particular, is very confused today. Very
I have
confused.
I have no desire to see him. That is not why I'm here.
Just in case you run across him in a hallway.
Can I blush prettily no, no, I really don't have. I mean, this is like, me speaking out. It's like I have no intention of seeing him. I have no idea what I would say if I saw him.
I mean,
And
those half of that is definitely true, and the other half is possibly true. You definitely don't know what you'd say if you saw him.
I don't actively have an intention of seeing him. Remember, I am really looking for Pen Lang.
That's true. Fair enough.
That's my goal right now. I have to figure a lot more out before I'm willing to even be seen by Wulin.
Do not be seen by Crescent Sword and Fang. Stay out of the way and do not be between those two brothers right now.
I'm sorry, wait.
He said, which is really, it's kind of out of left field, but he says, don't be seen by Crescent Sword Fang, and don't end up between those two brothers right now. Between the
All right.
two brothers.
Okay, so he's referring to the.
Huigong and
Okay.
and
Okay, I just was like, wait a minute. Sacred
Yeah.
Fang did no.
yeah, Fang is a whole, like, that's just out of left field. You can't. You're fairly certain you haven't exchanged a dozen words with Fang in your entire life. Why he would be looking for you, or why you would like ping his radar,
Right.
even if he did see you, would complete question mark there.
But I do know that he has influence over my brother.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
no.
Well,
Don't make trouble for me at work.
In the grand scheme of things, right now at least, Fang's going to be the one calling the shots that he's going to have to listen to, because guy who trains and commands the militia is definitely going to report to the guy who's got like actual military troops under it.
Yeah.
Like, granted, in all of the province, there aren't like a lot of military troops, air quotes. It's mostly militia, so there aren't a lot of like just straight up warriors that are just like working as guards mostly around the castles and stuff. Like Fang probably has a half dozen people that are like guards, military people. Anyway,
So yes, so my that is I would enjoy nothing more than to avoid all of that. Is there anything you need, my brother?
the ability
Can I
to
bring you some tea? It's one of her answers for
perhaps at lunch, but not now. Actually, lunch, an early lunch. I'll be at the front gate if you're willing, if you're able.
I will definitely bow in appropriate respect to my brother and leave him with some phrase that, I will, of course, do as you request, implying the broader conversation, not just bringing him tea.
Gotcha. Zemin. Someone's running or hammering something.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I'm just hearing it on the mic.
I was hearing it. I thought it was on your household side, not
No,
ours.
not my side. I don't know where it's coming from.
I just muted myself.
If you're talking about me, my roommate asked to borrow a mallet, so she's.
Oh, there we go. I was like, what am I hearing? At least it's explained. I thought it was does anybody else smell toast? Am I having a stroke?
It sounded like somebody running upstairs.
Yeah,
to
a little
me,
bit.
but,
That's fine.
Hey, here we go.
Oh, love a mallet. Love a good mallet. Anyway, Zemin, you have no trouble whatsoever finding Lei, because she is currently attending to Wei Gong, who is currently, he is on, I don't want to put him in the chambers because that ends up being a little bit weird.
I was about to say, Legon isn't with his dad.
No.
Okay. Yeah, put him in the garden.
Yeah, I think, well, like kind of, technically the garden, you're told the garden. She's with, Huigong. Rinse isn't quite the right word, but I'm not going to worry about that. In the garden, but what you actually find is he's on the wall of the castle that you can get to from the garden. Like he's gone up out of the garden, up like some steps to like the wall. It's not like any great fortification, but on the side that it doesn't need to be very tall from the inside to be pretty noteworthy on the outside from where he's at. And he's kind of like standing there with his hands clasped behind his back and looking out, not in a lordly way, but in a sort of like pensively staring out kind of fashion. Let's get us back over here onto this physical thing, and we'll throw him up. Where is he going? There he is. Let's put him out over here on this back wall, looking out over. It's out away from the town, kind of out over these. Like it's an open field. It's been where the trees have been cut back. It's not really planted as well. Fine, we'll put rice fields back there or something like that. But he's just kind of looking out over there, like he's just And it would seem like calm, lordly meditation, except for the fact that he is really like twisting and pulling at his finger. Like one hand is clasping the other, but he's really kind of twisting and bending his fingers and just fidgeting a bit, just subtly. And Lee is just kind of hovering nearby, like on the steps from the garden up, like just at the very top of the steps, and sees you kind of come to the base of you come through the garden and you can spot them kind of silhouetted up there on the wall. And when you come to the base of the stairs, she looks down from the top of the stairs and kind of frowns and comes about halfway down, like what are you doing, kind of thing. How are you even here? Well, what am I asking? What are you doing?
I'm
This is
well
not
beloved by the entire castle. That's why. No. But yeah, no. As soon as Zemin crosses the distance, and they just so that they got a little bit of privacy, like hush whispers and that sort of stuff more than anything.
About that range.
Yeah. Who?
What'd you say?
I said who?
Who what?
Who did you say was out of range?
No, I said sorry. You're at about the right range for like a whispered conversation. I'm sorry if that I didn't say it very
I know
clearly.
you were just I thought you were Bow's out of range. I was like, what's Bow doing here?
No. You're about at the right range for a whispered conversation.
I was looking out the window, staring down at you.
with a bow.
Saying
This is
you
a
need
whole
Bow.
subset of skills we haven't talked about with him yet.
But yeah, nope. So under, a very clip whisper conversation, it's just this is very important. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Just trust me on this. Bow and his family have done something horrible, and I don't want what they've done to fall back on you.
What?
You need to go and publicly denounce them as soon as possible, before any of this comes out.
What?
At least they get you wrapped up in all of this.
What? Are you still drunk from last night again? What? No.
No, I hardly even drank anything last night.
For the record, I saw him down a good deal of alcohol.
And yet,
Do I detect him poisoning her feelings from a distance?
No, actually, poisoning her feelings right there,
Like
up close and personal.
I think he meant the detection.
About a range.
I think he
No,
meant
my detection was from a distance.
yeah. What are you talking about? And don't talk too loud. Huigong's going to become very upset. He's taking this very personally. He thinks he had something to do with it.
from what I understand, he had nothing to do with it. He'll be all the happier when he knows that it wasn't, he didn't have anything to do with it. That apparently it was Bao and his father that is behind everything that's happened with Lord Aoshi.
Yeah, I heard about his father being in like that he'd been arrested. I'm not really worried about that. I am trying to deal with Huigong. I don't want to. Let me just. And she kind of pokes her head up over the edge of the wall. And kind of ducks back down and then looks again and then comes back down again. And from a distance, I don't know that he necessarily knows that you're there, but he can hear the agitated movement or something like that. And you hear Huigong say something like, "Stop worrying that I'm going to throw myself over, Lee. That's not why I came to the wall." You see? Think with it. He thinks he's responsible. I don't even understand how.
Look. I can abuse him of that entire notion. I just need you to get away from this, so whatever happens to Bao and his family doesn't also come on you. You don't deserve that. You had nothing to do with it.
You are still saying this, but she has. I'm going on instinct here because I really don't understand necessarily, and I don't know that I necessarily need to. What the hell Lee and Zemin's dynamic is necessarily, except that Bao's not good enough for her, and apparently Zeman doesn't think he is either.
Oh yeah, Zeman's horrible. She deserves much better than either of them.
About that, when he says I can disabuse him of this nation, it's like, well, if you know something, you're coming up here, and she's grabbing you by the sleeve and like trying to bodily haul you up the stairs to
All right.
Huigong.
All right. Well, I
She's-
still want to pressure her into doing things, but
I mean, you can
I can talk to Huigan first.
talk to him first, and then talk to me about your nonsense later.
Okay. It's like, hi, I'm very sorry to hear about the tragedy that struck your family.
It is troublesome. Thank you for your kind words, Zeman.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you have always been a friend to Ji, and that he admires you greatly, and I know that you have been a friend to our family. The unspoken thing there is we personally haven't exchanged more than 4 words that weren't like standard palace pablum, but by all means, I'll acknowledge the fact that you exist and other people hang out with you.
Mm-hmm. We're not friends, but I know you hang out with my older brother.
Exactly. And also
Yes.
the guy that I, am actually friends with.
Yep. Anyway, he is.
I'm very sorry for your loss. Yes, I acknowledge that we have mutuals.
But anyway, Zeman's just gonna give him like a soft like pat on the back and just be like, listen, as I understand it, everything is working out well with your father, and the people who are responsible for it should be getting exactly what they deserve here soon.
You can actually see him become tenser, like winding up a crossbow as you're saying this, like the people who are responsible, so on and so forth, like all of that, like visibly makes him become more.
He's really convinced he's responsible, or he is responsible. What do we know?
I mean, he could be. All right, so Zeman's not a master, but he is a manipulator. Can I infer anything from what he's telling me here?
Why don't why don't you give me a study?
All right.
See what we can suss out about this whole thing.
All right, we're rolling this wood because I'm curious about this now.
Okay.
I am highly curious.
Woo.
Completely dumb, but highly curious.
Clearly, he's working with Zhang.
Okay.
Hey, Doyce.
Yes, sir.
If you don't have anything in mind, I'm going to give you the dumbest answer to this.
Well, I have something in mind, but I want to hear your dumbest answer.
All right. If you give me some reason where I think that this really was Huigan, I mean, we're up on a wall. I got my hand on his back.
No, that that wasn't where I was going. Well, I mean, it's kind of where I was going with it, but not exactly.
I didn't know he was that kind of fixer.
Well, I mean, Zeman gets out of a lot of trouble. Some of it isn't very nice trouble, I guess, maybe. He actually, okay, so if I can replay kind of what you were saying, I'm sure that the people who are responsible for this or be brought to justice, as you kind of pat him on the shoulder. He, in hindsight, I just picture you in like one of those confessional booths for one of those, the real world kind of things. In hindsight, I can totally see how he misconstrued what I was saying to him, because I said something about, the real perpetrators are going to be brought to justice, and then I patted him on the shoulder, and he clearly thought I was talking about him. All of this delivered while Zeman is holding an ice pack to the side of his face, kind of a thing. His eyes get wide, and he's like, he says something like, oh God, what would he say?
Yeah.
Were you there? And then he leaps and he comes at you with like everything, like fists, feet. He is coming full on at you in like a full on attack. He doesn't have a weapon on him right now, but everything short of that, he is coming at you like full on, just kind of thing up on the, as you say, a wall that. As Zeman was having a fleeting thing about, wait, if he is, I wonder if that fall would kill him. And now you're wondering, I wonder if this fall can kill me, because Huigong is like going full on like at you, like across the thing, flying up into the air and kicking your head and all this other kind of stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that I get to fight somebody?
You get to fight somebody.
All right.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Oh my god, we actually fight people in this game?
I mean,
I'm gonna Jackie Chan my way around this wall.
this is going to be kind of like, given the nature of this game and the fact that the type of game it is, and the fact that we haven't had a fight, I was starting to wonder if we were playing Wander Home. Okay, yes. And he's he's coming at you. So, yes, I refer you to conflict moves. I would like you to look at the conflict moves for a second. I think, yeah, Huigong is at your scale. At least he is right now. I realize that you're at, kind of bad Snake River style, but you're still theoretically on his scale.
I was about to say, I have kind of bad Surf and River style in that Zibin learned all the flashy moves, not the basics.
Nice. So as this thing happens and you're kind of like backpedaling and he's leaping and stuff like that, we're gonna get back to your fight real quick, but we're gonna cut to the other brother real quick. As this thing starts and the first leap happens and we cut to ironically, I guess, I don't know if it's ironic or symbolically, that same sort of audience chamber that Penn you met Gunlon in yesterday, where all the prep was happening for the ritual.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what room you're talking about.
Yeah, and you come, and it's a big room. Nobody is in there except, well, actually, you initially think that nobody's in there, and then you see motion because Dan Tien is coming toward you kind of hurriedly, and Gunland is sitting in like a backless chair that's off to the side kind of, and it's alongside a pillar sort of on the far side of the hall, with like light coming in from like one of the windows in the room. So he's kind of sitting with like light from outside coming down on him, but he's just sitting there, and his hands are on his knees. His elbows are on his knees. He's kind of leaning forward with his elbows on his knees, his hands kind of clasped and kind of like leaning over and facing away from the rest of the room, sort of facing toward the thing and just like hanging over there and just hang dog and head hanging and everything like that. When you were around Gunlon, what was your relationship with Dan Tien? Because Dan Tien's like a good friend, like a party friend.
Yeah, I mean, we probably, hung out some, although mostly just through Gunlan.
What did you, certainly personality-wise, it feels like your relationship was very different. And I don't know, from your point of view, probably Dan Tien brought out some of the worst or wildest or least responsible. Around you, he was Henry V, and around Dan Tien, he was Harry. If that may be a little bit more of a deep cut than we need.
Yeah, that doesn't do me anything.
He was more of like the party prince around Dan Tien. Around you, he was more like he. Other people you didn't see it, but other people would say he tried to be better. Sometimes he even succeeded. Dan Tien comes over and very quietly says, "This is an inappropriate time to have another argument with him. He's having his father is in a very bad way, and he's taking it very badly." And this is probably the first time that you have seen him even kind of look sort of serious.
If you think I've come here just to argue, then you have gravely misjudged me.
He seems to actually hear that. Like, fair point. Why are you here?
It is because of his father's condition that I am here.
I think I might be touched. You came to comfort him?
Yes.
I kind of want to have you do an inner conflict right now, just having to say that out loud. But I'll wait on that, because that seems like you had to at least be steeled enough to get through that part of it. Well, it can't be. I don't imagine you can make things worse. Listen, he's responsible somehow. Directly. I don't mean symbolically. He thinks he's directly responsible for this somehow. Talk to him.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. And he'll kind of fall back, and give you an opening. Just stay out of the way, kind of thing. And give you distance too, because you'll be across a fairly large room away from that, so not really any prying ears, so to speak. What do you do?
I head over and Sorry, where did you say he was sitting again?
So, here. Okay.
Like, I know in the room, but
Right. Let me here. Give me half a moment and we'll get you over here.
okay.
And we'll just really quickly. So if you've got like a center dais kind of situation here, I can't easily do circles, so I'm just gonna. So you've got a center dais in the room with like a small, like I don't want to say throne because it's like a backless chair. It's just very nice. And you got a pretty good sized room. Hang on, and then along the side you've got fairly regular pillars. Okay, you with me? I'm super sketching this. All right. So you've got your pillars. This is terrible. I really need a circle. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, how'd you get a circle?
You hold down Alt while doing draw shape.
Oh,
Just like a prompt.
aren't you people?
Fancy reading the documentation.
I was gonna say no. We can actually just read directions. But,
I don't see any of these pop-ups that you're. What prompts?
It's when you hover over draw
When
shape.
you
Hold
hover
on.
draw shape,
Okay.
when you click
Look at
on-
that. All
when
right,
you
I
click
see
on
it.
draw shape.
Hey, guys.
Yes, sir.
Looks like I need you to leave a little early, so I'm going to drop out from here. Sorry.
Sorry, sir.
No, it's all good. It's just my other roommate who normally picks up the one roommate had dental work today, and so she's not feeling well.
Kind of
so,
wiped out. Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, I'm on the hook for the Thursday pickup. So because we moved the game this week, that it came around.
Yeah. Sorry
that's
about that.
No, all good. Thanks. Bye.
All right. So you kind of came in this way, and nope. Here we go. Dantian kind of met you right about over here somewhere. He's the little circle, and Gunlan is sitting like over in this chair, and you've got like he's basically sitting where. Good lord, this thing could have just a little bit more memory. But he's basically sitting where like light from the window is sort of coming in, right? And facing that direction, kind of elbows on knees, slumped in this little chair that's like up against the pillar. Does that make sense? Kind of?
Yes.
Okay.
That was much more than I needed, but
This room will probably come up again, I feel like. So I don't mind, fiddling with it a bit just to kind of get the sense of it kind of laid out. We'll even do a couple little stared steps on the dais here just to create the basic idea. That makes sense. Actually, visually that kind of works. Anyway, so yeah, he's sitting over yonder doing it, moping, basically. That makes. But yeah, basically Dantien stays over on the other side near the other entry, and there's like a side door that you came in back here in the back. It was how you got here with Zeman. So not through the main doors, it would be on the opposite end from the dais, but like in through a side entrance because that's how Zeman arrives.
Yeah.
Sometimes suits him to do so. Yeah, gotcha. So what you doing?
I'm gonna pull up another chair to sit next to him.
Ooh.
Your arrow is in the way.
My arrow's in the way?
Yeah.
Fine. Go over top. He doesn't. He just seems completely lost in sort of completely lost in his own funk. And then he kind of like almost sniffs and raises his head up and kind of double takes or something like that. It's like somehow he smelled you. Which I suppose is not entirely impossible, but something about you or whatever seems to have like been a reaction there, whether it's like incense that you always burn or something like that, but whatever. He just kind of is very, very surprised by you being here. Oh, perfect. I had a speech planned for you. I don't remember any of it right now. Can you come back? Or, well, your order with Justicars at one point in time, weren't they? Do they still function in that capacity? On any official level?
We still remain dedicated to justice.
My father always spoke highly of the Order, seemed to have a great deal of respect for them. Never trusted them entirely, but respected them immensely. If you took my confession, that would probably simplify things. Get me thrown in the stocks, executed properly, all that sort of thing. Would you do that for me? Get me executed properly.
If that was to be your punishment, yes, but I'm not convinced it is. The Gunlan I know would not be responsible for this.
Wouldn't rashly do something stupid that ends up having terrible consequences later? No, why would you think I would do anything like that?
It's not you.
Oh, Lan, come on. Doing something rash and stupid one night when I'm feeling poorly and have just had a fight, and then wake up the next morning and wish I hadn't done it and find out I damaged something I care about very deeply. This is exactly who I am. And I don't know, I feel like that's about maybe where that would really go crashing headlong into everything that's happened with you two and cause an inner conflict. But if you are fully imperfect pillars, thanks very much for the people who are critiquing my art skills. I'm using a mouse, people. Come on.
Critiquing it using the fancy fonts
It's very nice. It's very nice.
Hey! Roll20 has added a whole bunch of fonts. I am ethically obliged to start using them.
Fine. But yeah, he is very clearly saying that whatever he thinks he did is a direct parallel to you guys had a fight, and then he did something stupid with some other person, and then he regrets it the next day, and it was all horrible. I mean, and the thing that maybe even gets to you even more is the fact that he is putting you on the same parallel, like screwing up with you is on the same tier, and maybe he's being over dramatic, but if so, he's on brand. Screwing up with you is on the same altitude, like elevation, as my dad is in a coma. So that's it. What do you think? Does having him compare his father's coma to your damaged relationship cause an inner conflict, an emotional upwelling, or are you trying to hold back on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that. Let's see. Let's find out then how you hold on to that one and manage it. When you come face to face with an emotional turmoil or pressure from an entanglement or personal issue, mark XP and roll anything except for your style element.
I was thinking Earth, kind of focus on the present.
Caution, focus, presence. Trying to hold yourself together. I like it. Trying to stay above it a little bit, because if it backfires a little bit, ricochets. If backfires a little bit, being disdainful, pretending to be uncaring is, kind of ends up being how it kind of comes off a little bit. I like that. Works for me.
Wow.
Ooh.
I just can't.
With the so that's another XP. You're learning so much about yourself. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So he's saying all these things, and each one of them just kind of it's rough because you kind of like, I think, filed it all away a little bit, and he's just saying it because he always just does this. He says the things you're not supposed to say out loud that people feel. They're supposed to feel them, not say them. Gunlan just says them right out there for people just to hear, including you, even when it's about you. It's just, he just does that all the time with just saying things. And it gets you, it often gets you. He sees that reaction in you, okay? The fact that the some level the feelings are still, he sees what he wants to see. He sees that there are feelings still there, whether it's anger, or disgust, or regret, or whatever. That is entirely up for you to determine. But he sees something in there, and in seeing that, he responds to it like a man dying of thirst.
He reads it as the storybook. Okay, now time to go kiss the person.
What he does actually is he throws himself sort of you're expecting the kiss thing, because again, Gunlan. What he does is he throws himself on his knees right in front of you. Like he kind of comes around and he like on his knees right in front of you, right in front of, because you're sitting there, right? So he's right there. He takes both of his hands in yours and he gets in there really close. And he's able to do this because, again, you're mostly worrying about the kiss thing. So all this other stuff is like not what you were worried about. You're never supposed to speak at the well in the night of bitter scales. The spirits listen. We're told this when we're infants. We're taught this the first time we go there when we can barely walk. I went there last night and I wished my father dead. I did this. You have to get me out of here. I can't be here when he dies. I can't bear it. And whatever comes from that, I don't want it. You have to get me out of here. Margie.
Yes.
You are feeling so much better. Fresh, clean water in the face, and your face back on. properly as befits someone of the court, new clothes. It finally feels like a shining new day.
And then?
No, I'm not. There's no but. Everybody else is in hell. You're fine. For now. So, having been shined up properly, you were looking for Pen Lang, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, having followed a couple of actually, one of the first people that you do, remembering the words to your brother, you do at least pay some honor to your typical morning routine and stop in and check to see your morning practice of stopping in on Lady Kai and making sure just morning greetings, that sort of thing, see if she needs anything, see if she wants to visit, or sometimes she chooses to pass the morning away, that sort of thing. She seems to be preoccupied, wound up in her own thoughts, pondering. She occasionally likes to lay out, many court women sort of toy around with the idea they fiddle with like the equivalent of tarot cards kind of thing, like fortune telling, like casting bones, casting crystals, that sort of thing. She toys with that occasionally. It seems to amuse her. And she's peering over like a silk draped side table or something with some crystals cast about on, that sort of thing. And she says, "No, I don't want to take you away. Were you looking for anyone in particular aside from a foolish old royal spinster?"
Never foolish, my lady. Never foolish.
You are very kind, but surely there must be someone that you can more profitably spend the time with this morning.
There is one that's recently returned to court who I feel I need to have a conversation with, but with the castle so in an uproar, I'm loath to be about publicly. My brother is very cross with me right now as it is.
Yes. It's difficult also in a situation such as today, when a member of a court visits with a member of a different court who probably shouldn't be brought too closely into the details of anything untoward that's happening in the court. So it would be difficult for you to visit the Sue family this morning. Certainly.
Actually, I was more interested in Ling.
Really? I apologize for my assumption. But
Hmm.
the fact that she even knew to say anything is blink, blink,
I think,
blink, blink, blink.
Really?
Really what?
I just credit her with being a person who is quietly there and
quietly aware of everything
going on. Yeah.
Well, in that case, then it doesn't surprise you that much, because she when you said you want to see somebody who visited in from not out from outside the court and stuff, she immediately went to Sue, which might make you blush, but apparently I correct what I'm saying. Didn't necessarily surprise you that she had an inkling of what was going on there.
Well, I certainly made a big enough fool of myself last night about it, so.
Oh, on the contrary, I don't think anyone else noticed. And honestly, I think it may be very beneficial to the court in general if you do see her as soon as possible. But as you say, you were looking for Pen Lang. So
I am actually going to explain myself some here.
Okay. Go ahead.
You know how I sometimes catch things from the past.
Yes, I find that and as you know, I find that fascinating about you.
And in having seen Pen Lang last night, it really drew something from me from a time before, and it's because of that I feel I need to, I guess, set things right for things that have happened.
Oh, he's connected to one of your memories. That is fascinating. Well, in that case, I can tell you that I spoke with him not that long ago. He was here on a unrelated matter to whatever it is that you might be talking with him about, and I believe he may be in the main audience hall of the castle.
Ooh.
Don't worry, it's largely unoccupied at this point. I believe he is also looking for someone, but you should be able to find him without a crowd around. And if Mike is sitting there going, "I thought she was helping," You know,
Yeah. Well, in a way,
her
she helps.
her helping is a kind of helping, sort of. So. And if you change your mind, the Sioux family are in the guest houses, which I'm sure you're aware of.
I blush and smile lightly. There's the conflict. Do I
If you,
ghost
it's
my...
absolutely. I feel like you should roll inner conflict first if there's a conflict.
Yeah, actually, the conflict is not which direction I should head, but whether or not I dare go into the main hall after having promised my brother that I didn't want to see any of the royal family.
I think that's fair.
So that is my conflict.
I think that entirely
Running
tracks.
out of things to check here, guys.
Have you spiked? I haven't looked at your character sheet in a little bit. Have you spiked a couple of stats?
I got earth and water spiked.
Very nice.
Keep
it going.
I'm gonna go with fire again.
You don't want to go with metal, control, calculation, reflection?
-1.
I'm just saying it's relatively appropriate.
Fine.
You gotta spike it eventually. You might as well just spike it now. You might confuse your dice with a bad. Take a bad stat, get a good roll. Squeak out of 7. Squeak out of 7. I love it. Good, nice. All right, so inner conflict. On the 7 to 9. Oh, you must still mark an element. Well, you're not going to miss metal. Come face to face with emotional turn.
I think we need to get some comfort and support.
You need some
here.
comfort and support going here pretty quick, but for sure. But yeah, you're able to master the conflict. I mean, obviously it's difficult. I mean, you're able to certainly. I sense there's more complications here than simply a past life and the difficulties of being young in your current life. Would you like my advice?
I would. And I'm going to mark a bond with you. Thank you very much.
Oh, is that a thing?
That's the ashes of time.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
That's a new move she got.
When you mark an element as a result of inner conflict,
you may immediately create a bond with someone as you reflect on the lesson they deliberately or inadvertently. She's very, and I want to make it clear, it's very deliberate on her part.
Got it.
I think that young Su Wen has several allies within the castle, but can't see any of them right now and should see them. I think that I realize that you are a very kind and wholesome young lady, but I believe it is time for you to scheme. And I think that that's best done with
professional.
Schemes are schemes are always much more enjoyable when they're done with someone that you care about.
Okay.
You should go see your friend. You don't have to. Just advice from an old spinster.
Hardly. And you know that, Lady.
She would absolutely be, I think I said this already, but I believe she would absolutely be played by Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah.
Make sure I get this right. I think this is the movie I'm thinking of. Yeah. Yeah. This is the picture I'm thinking of, or the look that I'm thinking of. I'll put it in the chat of the Roll20. As she appears in Gunpowder Milkshake, which I don't know if I necessarily recommend the movie, but it is entertaining. If the idea of Kill Bill, if it were set in the universe of the Umbrella Academy,
oh dear,
were entertaining. It's a movie. It is a movie. It is definitely a movie that I have watched. I think I liked it. I did like it, but I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it to a bunch of folks. Certainly not Margie necessarily.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of. I will say this.
I had enough abuse on that line from my husband already this week.
There was a single.
Margie has already done her quota of that for the quarter.
There is a gunfight that takes place in the diner in that movie that is done as a single take in slow motion. And in my experience, practical effects that involve people being shot with weapons tend to work better if they're somewhat quick shots, so that you don't see that it's not real. And they went the route of, we're going to do it as a single take in slow motion so you can see everything in complete detail, and we're still going to make you think that it's real. And they managed to pull it off. But it's a lot of vital fluids flying around in that scene. It's a good shot. I mean, it's very cool. They got a couple of
Invincible in live action. Got it.
Not Not exactly, but yeah. I mean, I like the casting because they used what's her name from she played Ruby Roundhouse in Jumanji, and she was Nebula, and her name is right out of my head. She was in Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah, her.
She's the main
Karen
person.
Gillan?
The annoying companion.
Karen Gillan is in it.
Yes.
This is the show where you finally get to go, holy shit, she is tall, because she is taller than literally everybody by at least half a head. But Angela Bassett as one the
Wow.
older generation of women that are sort of her mentors in this are Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, Carla Gugino, and I can't remember who plays her mom, but it's like really like, oh yeah, and we're gonna let all them kick ass too. It's the casting is really quite something, honestly. It's good stuff. Anyway, that's the kind of I'm picking Michelle Yeoh as she appears in Gunpowder Milkshake for Lady Kai. That was a hell of a tangent for one picture, but I stand by it. Mostly because I like the hair. In any case.
There you go.
So yes, she makes a bond. You make a bond with Lady Kai. She
Okay.
sees much and sometimes offers you. Well, I don't know. It's very kind of you to characterize it as good advice.
I said sometimes.
Often offers, sometimes offers advice. To what end, we can only guess. Yeah, and then she does the kind wuxia matronly off you pop.
Yeah. Shush, shush, shush. No.
Uh,
Waving you out of the room.
There you go. Off you pop.
Young things.
Do you which direction do you pop?
I am going to turn left as the lady suggests.
I see. Towards Su Wen and company.
Yes.
All right, great. Bow.
Right.
Left to your own devices, knowing that your father will be freed, knowing that more important people are seeing to Lord Aoshi.
I absolutely need to check in with Lee.
Of course. Thank you. I appreciate
Come to
that.
the wall. Come to the wall, Bow.
I was going to say, thank you, thank you, Dave.
If only I knew where she was. I look out the window.
And that's perfect. Yes. You're like in a random hallway. Nobody's really there. You look out the window. It's like, if only I knew where she was. And you see her, and she's like gesticulating wildly and like trying to stop this foolishness. And you see Huigong and 5 Coin Zemin fighting across the top of and apparently, at least from what you can see from where you are, fighting in earnest, at least on the part of, I can't characterize Zemin, but at least on the part of Huigong, fighting in earnest. So,
okay.
What do you do? Leap out the window into the garden.
This is where I continue to channel my inner Jackie Chan. I look to the left, and there's a stairway that bends off in the wrong direction. I look to the right, there's a great pair of ornate double doors with 2 angry-looking guards kind of standing stolidly in front of them, holding big spears with big blades on them. So yeah, I go back 3 steps and hurl myself through the window to the ceramic tile roof beyond, to then from there hopefully leap successfully down to where this is all going on, and Lee's in danger, and Zemin and Prince Huigong and
Lee.
Yeah, again.
Why don't you give me an overcome? We haven't rolled an overcome before. When you do something under pressure, roll. It's just the acrobatic leapy.
That's appropriate.
I want mostly for flavor. I want to know what this looks like. Because I don't have a problem with you tumbling a bit and taking a bit of a fall, a pratfall, because again, you spirit of Jackie Chan.
This is going to be.
I need to watch some Jackie Chan with my kids. They really need to see.
Yeah. Wow. I'm looking at everything, and I'm kind of thinking this is a fire thing.
It seems like it, certainly.
So let me do that roll thing.
I hit. 7-9, you must either right here. Complication, GMA%. You a worse outcome or a hard choice? Okay. Rather than being particularly inventive about this, and shame on me, but I think this is just one of those situations where your impulsiveness and the fact that you're just leaping headlong into the fray just snaps back at you. And doesn't, there will be a time when we see Fiery Perfection Bao totally kick ass with his cooking kung fu and stuff like this. But this isn't really about the cooking kung fu. This is about leaping headlong into a thing. And I think we just mark your fire, because you're leaping out in there and you're not really thinking about it. And like you leap down onto like a branch and it does not hold your weight. It's an old one. It's kind of like a rotten branch on a cherry tree or something like that, and it kind of cracks and you tumble, and you scramble across and get there in good time, but you're limping, and you've got leaves sticking out of your hair, and you're grass stained, and scrambling up there while Lee is still gesticulating at all this stuff while you're trying to get over there. You're going to get over there in good time, but it's just not going to be at your best when you get there.
No.
Just not.
Okay.
Yeah. There's probably, honestly, if I want to characterize it, I'm going to say that because, again, we're talking about creative, speed, and fashion, reckless, scattered. So you start to do the thing.
And ending up alienating.
Well, no, it's more that, okay, actually. So Into the Spider-Verse, when Miles is going to leap off the building, and just before he does the leap, he kind of hesitates and trips up. Granted, he trips over a shoestring, but basically he hesitates at the last minute without committing. There's this moment where you're totally going to do it, and the music is swelling, and then you go and you have a doubt right before you go, because you're leaping out of a second-story window into a tree. People don't do that.
I will say, this is a Wuxia
I'm not
story.
saying
People do that.
I know people absolutely do that. I'm saying this is his moment of doubt at like the worst possible moment. Speaking of,
that's completely legit, and then it goes perfectly well with his character.
Yeah, and then he has to scramble to basically. I mean, anybody else would break their neck at that point. You basically end up with like some scuffs and grass stains and some.
It's Jackie Chan.
It's Jackie Chan. Meanwhile, Mike also invoked Jackie Chan. Scrambling atop the wall here as Huigong style. He has been taught by Tuanergy. His is a style of big, heavy hammer fist blows. He doesn't do his kicks are heavy front kicks and axe blows, and they're big, heavy things. This is not like a big floating thing. If he goes into the air, it's because he's throwing himself on a straight trajectory. He's not floating. He's firing himself into the air. So his is very much a strong, heavy thing, even in hand to hand. It's that kind of a thing. So there's just a lot of big, heavy punches and strikes, and while good and technically, I don't want to say perfect, but technically very strong, not impossible to predict. They have that about them. Zeman, what are you doing in this situation? What does this look like for you?
This looks like Zeman dancing about quite a bit, avoiding blows, giving ground, and not really fighting back. Like, there's the occasional hit, but it is more to throw him off balance than...
Is it more like strikes at the extended limb than at the body?
Yeah.
Just like slapping at an arm to push it a little bit further off?
Yeah, something like that, or goes for that front kick and Zeman just lifts his heel, hooks the leg, and just slams it back down.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so this is, and of course you've got Lee there yelling in the background, but this isn't, I don't think that because of Hui Gong's mood, this isn't the kind of almost slapstick fight where there's the intervening terrain is a person. It doesn't seem exactly quite the right time. If it were you and if it were you and Bao fighting, I would absolutely have Lee constantly being interposed in there because you're literally fighting over. But in this case, not so much.
Maybe in a minute.
Yeah, maybe in a minute. If your foe is your scale, you roll your style element.
All right.
And we check the thing. It's a duel. You're fighting against a worthy foe. Roll your style element. Bloop. What we got?
I'm gonna make that a 7. Spending that bond.
You're gonna spend that bond. What bond are you spending? Out of care. I just want to know.
One with Fiery Perfection Bao.
Oh, you're not gonna let yourself get beat down by Huigong while he's coming, or you
before it was just okay, we'll just go along with this. Oh, there's Bao. Well, screw that.
My question is
now I'm winning.
Is it the I don't want to lose in front of him, or I need to keep my shit together because I'm going to need to face him next?
Yes.
You're supposed to pick one.
I did. Both.
Ah, I see. Give me a moment, and I got to tell you a thing here in a second. But okay, so on a 7, okay, your foe is to your scale. You may declare a shift in the fiction, change of heart, and press on one shift in the entanglement. On a 7 to 9, choose one. When it costs, so you mark an element, they escape, you lose face, or some other cost. Narrate your loss, mark XP. Take +1 forward when you next face them, or a deadlock. You may reveal a detail or ask a question about them.
Mm-hmm.
I like these 7 to 9 answers. This is a really cool thing.
Yes, and I feel like
you can almost study somebody by fighting them. That's fantastic.
Yes, I do want to deadlock this.
Okay. Do you want to ask a question? Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Why does he think he's responsible?
I think this is it okay, or how does it feel to you if this is actually like legitimately dialogue that happens during the fight?
No, that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
That sounds like a Zeman fight.
I like it. Okay, so you may reveal, ask a question. So you end up in a deadlock. So yeah, there's some point in there where he like kicks another big one of those strong kicks, and you kind of bind that up by kind of winding your leg around his extended leg, and you guys end up in like each of you on one foot, and then your hands kind of in a grip, so you're really really close in there, but standing, and kind of in a push hands kind of shoving match, but only on one foot. So there's a lot of swaying back and forth as you're pushing for this. And it's like, why do you think this is your fault? I don't even think nobody thinks it's your fault. And the speech, what he says is for the viewer, shockingly close to what Gunlang said to Lan. Since we were children, since we were toddlers, when we were infants, it was drilled into us, you never talk around the well on the night of bitter scales. The well is listening. I was drunk and I was stupid and I babbled like a moron right in front of the well. Something that I brought a curse on our family, and that curse has laid my father low. I did the one thing that we've been told not to do since I was a child. Which, I mean, I don't remember. You weren't there. Two-Handed G was there. Margie was there. I don't think you weren't there for that bit, were you?
Which bit?
When Hui Gong was fighting Margie's character on top of the well.
No, Zeman was nowhere near that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. It was
off talk. I was off talking with Suning.
Yeah. Yes. Margie was there. It's Margie's fault. It's all Margie's fault.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, so that is why he thinks he did something that you're not supposed to do. He was in the well area and babbling and chitter-chattering and all this other kind of stuff on the night of bitter scales, which one must never do.
Yeah.
And that's why he thinks that it's all his fault.
And he's like, oh, that's why you... No. The accusations had nothing to do with that. Points over to Bao. It's his father who poisoned him.
Wow, you're singularly on target tonight.
As Bao comes up the steps and is like, kind of getting up the steps just at the last minute, it's like, no. It's Bao and his father who poisoned him. Dave, that's what you walk into. As these two are like apparently just parting from a grapple and stepping back from one another. Did we kill Dave?
No, I'm here. Sorry. Right. I'm typing some stuff.
That's fair.
Is there some emotional turmoil here, Dave?
It might be. We haven't had Bao with it. No, we did get him to do an inner conflict because he didn't want to not do an inner conflict on that one other one.
Right.
So yeah, you're in front of Lee. You're in front of 5-Coin Zeman, and he's accusing you and your father still of poisoning and treason. Does that trigger an inner conflict, Dave?
I was going to say an outer conflict, but
a conflict.
I don't know if there's enough. Well, certainly it creates a lot of inner turmoil because Lee's there, and I want to talk with her, and there's Prince Huigong, and I'm obviously he's our prince, and then there's Zeman who's saying these things, and I can see looking at each of them, sputtering, and then,
It feels
drawing a
like you
frying,
should. It feels like
drawing
you
a
should be
frying.
doing an inner conflict.
That's
But
fine.
keep going. Yeah.
I will do. I can do an inner conflict.
Drawing a frying pan. Is that what you said?
Drawing a frying pan out of frying pan space and hurling myself at Zeman. But we can do the inner conflict first.
I will point out that with fire spiked, you can't attack him.
That's true.
I think he can. He just can't win. Well, actually, I think that's only on like NPC duels. I don't know.
I have to
Start with this. I'll worry about the rest.
Why don't you? Yeah, find out. Let's find out. But in the meanwhile, let's inner conflict, Dave.
So
thank you for checking, Mike. By the way,
inner conflict
control
given
metal, maybe.
I
mean, control versus scared, because it's quite a lot to be accused of this right in front of the prince.
Yeah. I'm going to go with water, which is at a disadvantage for me.
Sure.
Because this is the downside aspects are exactly what I'm fearing. The upside aspects are this is like this huge moment of clarity that all these factors have come together at the moment.
I buy it. So yeah, roll what? Is it water? Roll water.
Roll water.
See what we get.
Holy moly.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Mark XP.
Yeah, Mark XP.
Twice.
Once for being asked to do it, and once again for missing.
Okay.
Wait, what?
If you roll inner conflict, just being asked to roll inner conflict gives you a point. If you miss, you get another point.
Oh.
So you should have another one marked, Margie, because you missed, right? You missed on your metal roll?
Yes, I did.
No, you rolled a 7.
Right, I still marked it, and therefore took a point for marking it.
You marked a point, correct. You didn't need to mark 2. You mark 2 only if you fail it.
I got it right, yes.
Yes, okay.
Also, reminder that marking XP on failure is only for inner conflict.
Yeah, only for inner conflict. But conveniently, this was inner conflict.
Yeah, to get into fights or get into inner conflict.
Okay, so what was the verdict on the fighting thing?
Nope. It specifically calls out, when the style element is marked, the PC cannot fight and must retreat or find another approach.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, I can figure out something for that, depending on what comes out of...
Yeah. No, for sure. Okay. So Gong immediately kind of shoves Zeman away from him and to the side, and it with this what? And kind of whirls on you. He doesn't immediately attack, but he immediately strikes a combative pose. And he's above you because he's up on the wall and you're still coming up the steps. Explain yourself!
That's my cue.
That is your cue. Most of the rest of the letters of the alphabet as well.
Your father lives! He was not poisoned! He was struck down by fell magic!
Oh yeah, that's gonna make him feel much better.
Yeah, I don't think he's here to make him feel much better. Now the last time, okay. I think I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go with Hearts and Minds. Part of this is just wanting to just do a simple overcome, but I kind of want to do Hearts and Minds because I feel like it's a little bit richer in terms of the possible responses and stuff there. Pressure someone susceptible to your words. Sure.
Yeah. I will probably then do that with metal. I'm trying to, reestablish the control that I should have over the.
Probably also throwing in the detail that this has been verified by the abbot himself or something like that. Throwing in this extra little bit of authority.
Just ask the abbot.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
What's that guy?
Zeman, right. I need to punch that guy.
Has nothing to do with anything that's going on here. Personal grudges.
Okay, moving on to the top of the to-do list.
What's he got to do with any of this? Nothing. I just want to hit him.
He shushed me once. You know how that makes me feel.
Oh, and also crap. Okay.
Oh, now you could theoretically burn a bond, Zeman style, if you got a bond there to burn.
I have already burned my Zeman bond.
Do you have a bond with Lee?
I don't have a bond with Lee.
That seems bad.
How do you not have a bond with Lee?
Well, he picked one or the other in his entanglement, and he picked Zeman.
Yeah. and I already used that.
I was gonna say it can be any bond.
It can be any bond. It could be the guards.
I could be the guards and have the guards kind of run up.
Yes, absolutely, because there's been a fight with the prince.
Or it could also just be you're confident because
the guards.
know the guards will also back you up here.
Yeah, but you could absolutely, you could absolutely have if you want, you absolutely can have the guards like, it's true, sir. Crescent Sword Zang. Yeah, Crescent Sword.
Guards running up at this point would be.
It's true, sir. Crescent Sword Fang gave orders. The abbot is with him now. But evil magic, sir. That kind of thing.
Yep.
Okay, so burn that bond, get it back down to a 0.
Yep.
They're done leaping in to assist the cook's son. So that gets you to a 7. On a 7, it doesn't bow to your words, do what you want. On a 7 9, they can instead choose to reveal. You may ask 2 questions of them. Overreact. You gain a bond with them. Hesitate. You +1.
You got 5 options there, Joyce.
Yeah, I know. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4. Oh, they can instead. They can just go with it. Yeah, I know, but I like these other ones. He almost shakes his head like, don't trifle me with details, like the thing at the guard. And he looks back at you as, how did you find out it wasn't poison? How did you determine it wasn't poison? He says to you, Dave. To
yes.
bow.
No, I understand. I've been taught how to know the effects of poison by my father. He says once again, really not seeing the implication of saying that, but
worked the last time.
And the abbot confirmed it.
You were the one that he sent on his quest after he was ordered to come and serve my father, correct?
I had that honor.
What does he know about the quest?
Huigong has weird hyperfixations from time to time.
He also wants to try the pepper.
Obviously.
You have to remember, like, who he hangs out with day to day are not noble people. He hangs out with Two-Handed G, who's from town, and trains the militia. He hangs out with Lee. He hangs out with people. Somebody who was not like part of the royal entourage or anything, that was ordered in to like become the royal cook and initially said no. This immediately intrigues him. And then why did he eventually say yes? You got to hear about that whole story. He gave up a lifelong quest. Well, that seems like something that one would not normally do. Well, okay. Oh, yes, they handed it off to his son. Interesting. He must be that son. Yeah. Dave, I'm giving you the option to write down a bond with him of some kind.
Okay.
You've impressed him with your
expertise. Hot pepper.
Yeah, you've impressed him with your expertise or your loyalty or
my filial authority, my filial loyalty.
Something like that. Yes. Which actually, that angle, that filial loyalty thing, given the situation he's currently in right now.
Yep.
Yeah. I dig it. Semen's like, damn it, I can't get him beheaded by the prince. Shit.
I guess I'll just have to go punch the abbot.
I have to go punch the abbot to take out my frustration. All right, we're coming up against it. Of all the people I thought would be the first person into a duel, it was not 5 coin. Peng Lan. God, I put the G in the wrong place all the time. Lan.
Peng Lan.
Your prince is clutching your hands, kneeling before you, tears not falling, but certainly bright in his eyes, asking for your help in escaping the castle because he is absolutely sure that he wished his father dead and that it did something. All in a hushed, raspy, hoarse whisper. There's an open window right there.
Yeah. Well, to make matters more exciting.
Okay.
Well, what he's, how he's, knelt down begging is actually part of a very, not scripted, but, like formal,
like
supplication.
Supplication.
This person does it this way, and it's especially known within, or, related to my clan, my sect, that, someone supplicates you like this, and you need to.
Yeah, this is the official asking.
Yeah.
Like protocol, the begging, the supplicant. Yeah, the supplicant must be honored, having come in good faith, etc., so forth.
Like the.
Or in panic.
Go. In Europe, going to a church and claiming whoever the hell. Sanctuary.
Yeah. Did you already roll your inner
Inner
conflict?
conflict? That's how I got in this situation.
That's how you got in this situation,
remember?
right? Yeah. Thank you. I had kind of lost track, so to speak. So what you doing?
I am duty bound to assist him, but I do not believe that fleeing the castle is the way to do so.
Okay, I'm with you so far.
So, I accept your supplication.
Oh,
I'm sure there's a nice
so
formal phrase for it.
And I will do all that is within my power to find the culprit of your father's situation.
Oh, what if it's me?
Do you really think I will go back on my word?
That is a weird way of comforting him, but I am here for it.
I said I would accept his supplication.
You also said that you would execute him if that was what was needed.
That was before he supplicated.
Well, just the
Listen, I'm not here to comfort him.
That is true. That ship sailed.
I don't find that very comforting. I'm not doing it to be comforting. What?
Why would you think I was trying to comfort you?
Did you miss a memo? Like, I'm angry with
Dantiao, unfortunately for him, I reached my comforting threshold when he started begging me.
I love it. Okay. You already have a bond with him, right?
Actually, no, I don't.
I think that you can generate new bonds and invigorate old ones via comfort and support as well as some playbook moves. That's interesting because the comfort and support is supposed to be pointed at a PC. So how do you make a bond with an NPC if that's the move that you're supposed to use to do it? Anybody?
Playbook moves.
Yeah.
Or hearts and minds them.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you're trying to get him to play it cool while you officially go to work on this. Is that the gist of it?
Yeah.
Like pull yourself together and
stop. Yeah.
If you're the one who's guilty, I'll kill you myself.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
I'm assuming that wasn't exactly what you were saying, but all right.
It depends upon how fed up he is.
So let's go with the hearts and minds thing. I think that tracks. Why don't you roll that and see how well he pulls himself out of his funk, or at least gets himself pulled together.
Does it say what to roll? Just roll?
Nope. Any stat. Whatever you think is most appropriate for trying to convince him. It's like any of the moves, with the exception of like duel, which is always going to be your style move. You just whatever makes the most sense for the way you're approaching it.
Pretty metal.
Yeah, I was gonna go with metal.
This is pretty metal, man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So what did we get? Oh, 7. All right. So hearts and minds. Oh yes. Overreact. You gain a bond with him as he grips your face in both hands and gives you a big kiss, just in sheer overdone melodramatic gratitude.
All right, rule 1 of this protectorship is you don't lie. No.
I am going to find you guilty right now. Stop it. No. So in the midst of this, and we won't, if you want to say like what we're seeing on screen with like your reaction to this, I'm curious. I welcome it, but if you're like kind of going, I have no idea.
Just vaguely shocked, but
But not surprised.
Gunland is a good kisser.
No. The face does not change. It just remains the same. If this were more a cartoon, possibly would do a joking turn to stone animation, but.
Oh, I love it. Do we see, because this is a melodrama, do we see his eyes closed? Do Penguin's eyes close?
No.
No, okay. So you're in the midst of this, and you hear Dan Tien like hiss whisper from across the room, "Someone's coming!"
I make use of this interruption to get him off of me.
Something else that Gunlan's very good at. Assembling himself in entirely presentable fashion practically instantaneously when he was, moments ago, conducting himself completely inappropriately. He's like spiritually bonded with Zeman in that way. I feel like he's learned some tricks. In any case, both of you are quite.
Do you think we get along?
In any case, everybody is entirely presentable when the big doors open up and Crescent Sword Fang comes in with a couple of folks with him and says, Gunlan, we need to talk. We need you to take control of the castle while your father is indisposed. The chain of command must continue. And we're going to stop right there.
How very military.
He is how very military. That actually could be like sort of his tagline. Crescent Sword Fang. How very military. And we'll stop with, so that's there with you guys. Hui Gong up on the wall with Bao and Five Coin. And the shadow of Sky Daughter Shu falling on the open doorway, and Su Wen looking up as the shadow falls across the doorway and looking up and seeing Sky Daughter Shu in the doorway of the guest house. That's where we will stop.
Entanglement stuff.
Entanglement stuff. When we're at the end of the session, where do they put that again? It's always in the weirdest place.
It's under the XP thing on its basic move advancement.
Okay. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, at the end of the session, if you significantly interacted with your highlighted entanglement, mark 2 XP. If you interacted with your other entanglement, mark 1 XP. Mark XP both when, that's a typo. Also mark XP when you roll, and if you fail, enter conflict, which we've already taken care of.
Well, I'm going to give myself 1 for the whole Lee Zeman thing.
Yes.
Which I did not have checked off, but still
with 1.
Yep.
Well, certainly your father's came up. Wasn't the other one about your dad?
The other one was about recruiting son to help get my dad out of trouble, and we've been like on opposite sides of the castle the entire last 2 meetings.
It didn't shake out that well. I would look another way at that one because your father's going to be off the hook here. And
no. Next time I'll definitely be changing that.
Yeah. All right.
See, I don't know that I hit either of mine.
Really? I tried like Dickens. I got you on inner conflict.
Well, because right, but I mean, I had things around them, but I didn't actually have any.
That's true.
I just changed it from my brother, and
yeah, you're right. It did kind of. We did kind of slide around that. God dang it! Sorry.
No, I'm actually fine with that because I'm like set up for a double header next time.
We call that a 5 Coin Zeman episode.
Yeah.
That was the first session with 5 Coin. Was like, look how we carefully dodged around every entanglement, even though he was involved in everyone's stuff.
That's okay. I got it this time.
You got it this time. Good job. And we nobody needs to check in with me. I know you guys are gonna,
No,
I think it's worth
reviewing with everybody. Yeah.
Reviewing. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Penglan?
Penguin.
Pangolin.
Penglon. Gotcha.
Pretty boy.
As I put in Discord, think more like, grass lawn.
Grass lawn. Gotcha.
Lawn. Yeah.
Yep. Well done.
Yeah, I do believe I interacted with my marked entanglement,
You think?
which I actually changed to now be, I am duty bound to protect Kungunlan, and I blame 5 Coin Zeman for it.
That's perfect.
I'm not saying I'm tying this to him promising me that I didn't need to, talk with Gunlan again, but...
Very nice. Okay. Okie dokie. Sounds good. Is that everybody? I think that's everybody. Zeman, you rang all your bells?
I rang 1 bell.
Oh, that's a start. Okay. Cool.
It's definitely a thing.
Alrighty.
You got me 2 XP.
I love it.
More XP than what I had.
That's true. You already dinged once though, didn't you? Or are you the only one?
I did ding once.
All right, good deal. Everybody's on roughly the same pace there. Alrighty. Well, thank you. Thanks everyone. I think things are moving along at a good pace, so that's cool.
Huh?
Stuff keeps happening.
No, this has been very cool.
Yeah. I think with this one, it's very much, there's a feeling, I saying it almost of like this is a weird comparison, but it's almost like a dogs in the vineyard town. It's like keeping in mind, like, this is what the NPCs want, and they're not going to, they may be coy for a minute if they're afraid they're going to get in trouble, but if dice even kind of indicate, they're dying to tell you what's going on to a certain extent. Like, there's some people like Lady Kai who's going to play things a lot more coy.
But they're going to progress stuff and talk about interesting things even when they're being coy.
Exactly.
This is soap opera.
Yeah, exactly. This is melodrama. If I remember my the melodramas that played every summer in my hometown when I was a kid, when we were out there and given many gigantic bags of popcorn with which to throw at the villain. Secrets weren't part of that formula. Secrets coming out
Oh,
were
no.
absolutely part of that formula.
Yes. Well, as someone who spent far too many hours in my youth and adolescence watching all my children on TV, because that was my mom's and my grandmother's soap opera of choice, and for at least a couple of years in college, the thing of choice to have on the TV during lunch at
Oh
my
God, yes.
dormitory.
My God, so many football players in my dorm watched frickin' Days of Our Lives when I was a kid. Oy.
It was just like, everybody, it was literally the throwing the popcorn at the screen kind of a thing. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everybody was into oh no, oh, she's going to reveal the secret now. Freeze frame on that, alarmed face as
Yeah, I
the
wouldn't
big
even.
commercial.
The soap operas, the American soap operas at least, like will actually have somebody like ride around with a secret for a year before they actually reveal it. But I tell you what, I'm going to throw this out here as a future note. One of the games that Lowell mentions as an inspiration to part of this, which I know from listening to his podcast and stuff like that he's on, he's gotten great enjoyment out of running, even though it seemed like the kind of thing that there's no possible way he would enjoy is a game called Passion de Pasione, which is
Yeah.
literally a game for playing Latin telenovelas.
Uh-huh.
And it is apparently like peppers and chocolate deliciousness for just over the top drama. So that might be a fun thing to do at some point in time. In the meantime, I feel like we're getting a pretty good fix of it in this, so that's all good.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit less like we don't have. I think what we don't have in this game yet are like the enemy factions, like battles out in the forest with like the enemy faction kind of thing.
Mhm.
That kind of stuff.
But it is an option.
We're not anywhere near.
We
Like,
haven't made it out of the castle.
we,
I mean,
we haven't
come
gotten
on.
we haven't gotten to the point where it's. I mean, we certainly haven't gotten it. Nothing has happened that would rule out that kind of stuff happening by any stretch of the imagination. But at least at this point in time, different kind of situation. So I also think I got to do a little bit more. There's a good section in the book about like sort of narrating fights and stuff like that. And I got to remember that usually I at least even with Power by the Apocalypse stuff, I tend to ride from role to role because there's usually a couple things you got a little bit of action, and it's not that. The way this thing is set to resolve, it's a die roll. It is a single die roll. So beefing up that, it isn't like a little pieces and parts of like a fight narration. It's the whole thing.
Well, and there's some aspects where you're guaranteed to lose, and
Yeah.
when you get a positive roll, you get to say how you lose.
Yeah, which that's actually been the part that always reminds me of that kind of reminds me of Amber and stuff like that. I'm fighting Benedict. I know I'm not going to win. I'm trying to lose with some dignity. I'm trying to impress him or whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to last long enough to get some information out of him before he beats me soundly.
Oh, I love some of the results in the duels where it's like, I learned something about him. I get to ask a question. That's good stuff. Anyway, all right, I'm going to stop here, but thank you all for another delightful time.
Indeed.